for the president, Felix Ofosu Kwakye. He's also a member of parliament for AAK. Felix, good evening. Welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you.
Yes, so the economic dialogue started today, but can you confirm to us whether political parties were invited or not?
Well, I would have to check with the organizers to be certain. But I do know that persons who you can describe as members or supporters of the NPP were present. The likes of Mr. Kwame Ofosu, who is a leading figure in the NPP, was there. NPP former appointees like Dr. Paul Nakwa and Dr. Taxation, who were both governors of the Bank of Ghana under NPP regimes, were there. So I can say that there's really no policy to exclude anybody on account of political coloration. But I will check to verify whether specifically the new Patriotic Party or any other political parties were invited. I actually saw the former chairman of the PNC, Mr. Bernard Bona, also there, and other representatives of political parties. But I will check whether specifically the NPP was invited. In any event, the NPP only a week ago was threatening not to be part of it. There were certain preconditions for attending. So they themselves did not give much of an impression that they wanted to be part of it. They also have a record of boycotting similar events in the past, specifically the Senchi Economic Forum. So their record does not suggest that they themselves have been willing to participate in these matters. But again, I will check to verify whether they received specific invitation to this event.
Well, that information will be important. Of course, the Deputy Secretary, General Secretary of the party tells us that they were not invited. Assuming that is the case, wouldn't it have been
a regrettable omission? But the point is that nothing stops them from showing up.
The point is, for a program that seeks to rally the support of everybody to reset the country, one would assume that given the kind of politics we play in Ghana, where we say that parties don't continue the projects or the agenda of various governments, inviting political parties should have featured prominently on your list so that it may not be an oversight. Unless, of course, it's deliberate that political parties were not invited.
But I saw representatives of political parties. I've seen elements who are leading figures in the NPP at the event. That tells you that there's no policy to exclude the NPP or any other political party. But I will get you the specific information on whether or not invitations were extended to the NPP as a political party. Mind you, this event was organized by a planning committee who are not necessarily government figures. You understand me? So that's why we can verify. Yeah.
I see. So the NPP today,
generally, yes, everybody is welcome. Everybody is invited. Yes.
Very well. Today, the NPP, the minority in Parliament, also addressed the nation, or what they call the true state of the nation. They said that the president's State of the Nation address that he did in accord with the Constitution last week was selective in some of the things he said. So, for example, he failed to state that, for example, the exchange rate stability is due to the fact that the previous government left a reserve of some 8.9 billion. And for them, that omission could not be an oversight. It was a deliberate omission to make them look bad.
So, Salom, they are happy that the city moved from 4 cedi to $1 to currently 15.5 cedis a dollar. Is that what they are touting as an impressive record? The president said that the city depreciated by 19% in 2024 and 27% in 2023. Is it a record that the NPP wants to tout? What stability are they talking about? The havoc, the massive hardships that they have inflicted on the business community and Ghanaian households because of the steep depreciation in the currency is nothing to be proud of. So I don't know how they can seek to take solace in some so-called stability. The IMF compelled them to keep $8.9 billion in the Bank of Ghana reserve. Most of that is encumbered. In other words, it is money that is merely passing through the account. Eventually, when we begin to meet certain obligations, that money will dissipate. So they are not talking about net international reserves. They are talking about gross international reserves. Nobody does analysis with gross international reserves. But to sum up, the currency has suffered devastating depreciation since 2021. Indeed, at the end of 2022, it had depreciated by 54%, which is catastrophic by every account. At a point, it moved from 4 cedis to 17 cedis to $1. So honestly, I don't see how they can mention the exchange rate as part of any record that is enviable. And perhaps the president spared their blushes when he did not go into details about the extent to which the currency had depreciated and the effect that it has had on the people of Ghana and businesses.
They've also warned that, if you are to introduce new taxes or increase existing taxes, they won't take it kindly with you, because if you say you are scrapping some taxes, the idea is to lessen the burden Ghanaians face, and so you cannot use the back door to increase other taxes. Of course, we are waiting to see what the budget has, but they project that there will be increase of taxes on the telecom, on the telcos, on the mining sector, and a few other places. What can you tell us about that?
Well, first of all, it does not lie in the mouth of the NPP to be issuing ultimatums about taxes, given their abysmal record. This is a government that introduced almost 40 different taxes, despite promising to scrap taxes in 2016. So having had such a terrible record, on what basis would they be purporting to be issuing cautions and ultimatums to government? President Mahama and the NDC committed to removing certain taxes. That will be done in the budget. President Mahama has said so. It is clearly stated in our manifesto. It does not mean that government cannot find other means to generate revenue. The problem with taxation is the incidence, who it affects, and to the extent that it does not affect the generality of the Ghanaian public, but there is room in some sectors for enhanced revenue measures. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. When they introduced COVID taxes, e-levy, betting taxes, and other things, it impinged adversely on the average Ghanaian and made life very, very difficult. The economic situation became so harsh. They piled taxes up to 40 of them on the people of Ghana. So how can a party that behaves this way suddenly purport to care about the people of Ghana and go to the extent of issuing ultimatums to the NDC? We are not stricken by the same affliction that they suffered, where they got up and imposed taxes left, right, center. We are not going to do that. But of course, every government reserves the right to introduce policies that enhance revenue generation. But as for the commitments we made to retiring some taxes, we will keep fidelity to them.
Now let's move to some other thing. The issue about the Hajj village appears to be getting some traction. The fact that President Mahama over the weekend, cut short for the construction of a terminal. Essentially, what is this Hajj village terminal supposed to do? Is it exclusive to the Hajj pilgrims, or to be open for use by the general public?
Salom, there too you have NPP mischief at play. You see, the Ghana Airport Company is a limited liability company with the government of Ghana as a sole shareholder. The primary purpose for their existence is to build, operate, and manage air travel facilities for profit. So everything they do is done with a view to making profit. And the shareholder, government of Ghana, is more than happy to have a situation where the company invests money or undertake projects that bring in dividends. So in October of 2024, under the NPP, the Ghana Airport Company entered an agreement with a construction company called Mawum's Construction Limited. For Mawum's Construction Limited to construct a Hajj village worth $14.6 million. Now, mind you, Salom, the Ghana Airport Company has always operated a Hajj village. Don't you know that?
Yes.
But it is within temporary structures. So they just took a decision in 2024 under the NPP and started actual construction in October 2024 of a new Hajj terminal. It is essentially a terminal building because they realized that at a particular time in every year, thousands of pilgrims pass through their airport to Mecca and Medina for religious pilgrimage. Now, this brings in significant revenue for the Ghana Airport Company. So they have decided to make investments that enable them rake in this revenue in a more enhanced way. So it is a purely business decision. They are just targeting niche clientele so that they will be able to make money. However, the NPP, having received justifiable condemnation from the people of Ghana because of what remains a senseless decision to pump $58 million into digging a hole, has been desperate to equalize. So the moment they had Hajj, they thought that they could deceive the people of Ghana that the NDC government has taken taxpayers' money to go and build a Hajj village. Because essentially, what are they talking about? They are criticizing themselves for deciding to build a Hajj village. Well, what I've kept on telling you, this project was started under the NPP by the Ghana Airport Company in October 2024. So how can the NPP government supervise a project in 2024 and come around in March 2025 to criticize him if it is not for pure political purposes? But so I think that the issue must be understood clearly.
Yes, that very, very fine. But the president cut short for this last Friday. So if they began it in the previous government, what were they doing? Mobilizing funds? Because the real deal starts after the short cutting.
Actual construction started in 2024. Short cutting is a ceremony. It can take place during or before construction begins. It is just like commissioning. When you go to commission a project, the project can begin to be used before you commission it officially. It's only an official ceremony that draws attention that a project like that is about to take place or is taking place. But actual construction started in 2024. Indeed, last week, just after President Mama did the short cutting, NPP officials came out to insist that the project started, construction started under them. Also, if you listen to President Mama's speech, and I'm sure your news organization covered it, so you can play back the tapes, he acknowledged that the project was started under the NPP government. So the NPP is essentially telling you, Salom, that they started a project in October 2024, but in March 2025, they are unhappy about it. This cannot make sense. And it is important that those of you in the media who cover the news draw this clear distinction that the NPP cannot have started a project and then turn around and say they are unhappy about it, because it will not make sense. Also, that project is a purely commercial project. The Ghana Airport Company realizes that they have a certain clientele. So they are tailoring services to meet that clientele with the ultimate objective of making profits and generating dividend for their shareholder, which is government. If you go to Terminal 3 today, the Ghana Airport Company invested $276 million because the government of Ghana asked them to keep all their ideas to build their balance sheet in order to attract funding from various financial institutions. If you go to Terminal 3, they have a place they call CIP, which is an exclusive lounge for upper class members of society who pay an arm and a leg to use that service. They created that niche market in order to generate revenue. So if they realize at any point that because this is an annual ritual where thousands of people pass through their airport, they should build it in order to charge some fees. Salom, whenever you use Terminal 3 or any of the terminals at the airport, you are aware that you pay for it because they put a levy on the ticket that you buy so that they recoup the investment. It is the same for this Hajj village or terminal. Every person who goes to Hajj and buys a ticket pays a levy to the Ghana Airport Company. So they just decided that, okay, they are going to put in place a specialized place for this and make more money. I don't see how anybody can say that this amounts to wasting taxpayers' money. Because ultimately, as I said in the beginning, the Ghana Airport exists for one purpose only: to build, operate, and manage air travel facilities for profit. And this terminal falls squarely within their mandate, which is what the government of Ghana set them up to do.
So in essence, after a particular episode of Hajj pilgrimage, the said terminal will be close to the next one. Is that correct?
Salom, to the extent that the airport company makes profit from the operation of that terminal, I don't think that this question arises. Our current airport, you do know that after some time, the airport closes down until the next day. You know that? They don't operate 24/7 because at a certain point, when the last flight takes off, there is some gap between that and when the next plane lands. So when the last plane takes off, between that time and the time that the next plane lands, what happens to the airport? The airport closes down. But they still run at a profit because they factored all of that into their business operations. So that the terminal will remain on use for some time. It does not stop the airport company from calculating and pricing their services such that they make profit.
Very well.
So I don't know why people will criticize it simply because they hear of Hajj and attempt to equate it to the misuse of public funds that occurred in the, building of the National Cathedral. As I speak, that is just a hole, which has cost us $68 million. This one will cost $14.6 million. The Ghana Airport Company is not taking money from their office. Neither is government of Ghana taking money from the Consolidated Fund or any other source to give to them to build. You do know that the Kumasi airport, the government of Ghana borrowed money to give the airport to build. You know that, right? They are going to recover it through the charges that they take from passengers who use the airport. In this instance, the Ghana Airport Company gave land that they have to the contractor as in exchange for him spending $14 million on the terminal. So they just gave land that they have equivalent to $40 million to the contractor to use for whatever development that they need. And then ask the contractor to invest $40 million in this terminal. So when I say taxpayers' money is not going in, not a dime, a pesewa of taxpayers' money is being taken from the consolidated fund and given to this contractor to build this terminal. It is a straightforward matter. But again, unprincipled, ridiculous politicking on the part of the NPP has sought to equalize, such that now they are criticizing themselves for starting the construction of a terminal, if you listen to what they are saying.
Very well. Thanks so much, Felix Kwakye Ofosu, Minister for State in charge of Government Communications. Thanks so much for speaking to us tonight on Eyewitness News. A number of your messages